team like Kyrie and KD, or the Lake Show with King James and AD. Wish I could match him up with the bad boys from the 80s, but no black and white, I need that in HD. HenDawgz.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy HenDawgz, and we back to it. You know how we do it. The Warriors should have never won this championship. Before we get into it, though, I want to say congratulations to the Golden State Warriors. I'm not going to sit here and say that they shouldn't have won it. I'm actually kind of curious to see why Jimmy High Roller don't think they should have won it, but they've been good all season. As much as I would love the Lakers to be in their situation, I gotta give them their credit, man. Steph, I guess I got a question for y'all. Where does Steph Curry rank as far as all-time players and all-time point guards? I'm gonna go all-time players. He may be top 15. I gotta put him in the top 15 all-time players. Maybe top 15, top 20. And top point guards, I gotta go number 2. Number 2 behind Magic. But let me know where y'all rank Steph at. That was just the one question I had for y'all before we get into this video. But let's see why Jimmy High Roller feels that the Warriors should not have won this championship. So let's get it. We got the Warriors should not have won this championship. Let's get it.
I don't know how many different ways to say it, but it was a special year, all things considered. And a new experience for me, Draymond Loon. Tried to make the most of it. Come back, bottle this up, everybody make the right strides, take advantage of the summer, and you don't want to see us next year.
I ain't hear that.
And that'll do it. It's over. The Golden State Warriors return to a familiar place. They're on top of the NBA world. The 4th title in 8 years. The Dubs done it.
Hey, I've never seen Steph so emotional. He was very emotional after this game, and I think that just kind of for me, I would assume why he was acting like that was because it's so much ups and downs in life. You know, you on the top of the world sometime, and then the next year you can be rock bottom. Like, a lot of people experience that stuff. Even millionaire NBA superstars, they experience that stuff. So yeah, like, he was winning all these championships, always in the finals, and then boom, Clay gets hurt. KD gets hurt. KD gets traded to another team. They're the worst team in the NBA. Like, you start getting older, ankle injuries. Like, so much can happen to where it's just like, damn, I was this high and now I'm down here. So to go back up and be a champion, like, that could be very, very emotional. Man, shout out to Steph, shout out to Clay, shout out to Draymond, and I guess I got to shout out to Iguodala too, even though he ain't contribute much, but he the leader on the team that you gotta have.
Is still very much alive.
He called it. Against all odds, the Warriors are now the 2022 NBA champions. Somehow, this team that was dead in the water just 2 seasons ago has been crowned NBA champions. But this team had no business even being here in the first place. This Warriors team was never supposed to win this championship. A roster full of has-beens and fringe players making a run at a championship? It's impossible. Well, at least it should have been impossible.
Nothing is impossible.
But they've got Stephen Curry. And as I was watching Steph completely dismantle the Boston Celtics on their home court to close out the finals, I thought to myself, I'll more than likely never see another player like this in my lifetime. What Steph is doing cannot be duplicated or repeated. He is truly a one of one. And I think it's time we take a closer look at where he ranks among the greatest players to ever play this game. Because the Warriors should have never won this championship.
Let's do it.
Today's video is brought to you by SeatGeek.
SeatGeek ain't paying us, so we're gonna fast forward this.
Final seconds here of this 2018 NBA season. There's the buzzer. There's a new dynasty in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors champions once again. Back-to-back titles, 3 in 4 years, and the latest with a sweep.
Do y'all remember exactly where you were and how you felt when this happened? I do.
Do y'all? Do you remember where you was at when KD and them won their last championship? Where was I at? I think I was out here. Yeah, I was still in California. Yeah, I mean, I was still like, hey, this Warriors dynasty is still not like the Lakers dynasty. Like, that's something I always try to stick with. So let me know, before we get back into the video, would y'all say that this Warriors dynasty is better than that Lakers dynasty? Where It was started in 2000 and ended in 2010, I think. So for those 10 years, we won 5 championships. They got 4. So let me know. Let me know which dynasty is better, the Lakers or the Warriors.
I vividly remember watching the Warriors dismantle the NBA year after year on their way to an all but certain championship. I remember sitting idly by as my favorite player was getting walked out of the building in the finals.
Shout out to
It
Bron.
was inevitable, and it felt perpetual, like the reign of the Golden State Warriors was never going to end, and I would spend the rest of my days watching this unbeatable, unstoppable Goliath of a basketball team make quick work of every single organization that stood in their way. I felt hopeless. The Warriors pushed me to the brink of insanity, and it was never going to end. Or, at least, that's what I thought.
I always got a question though. They already had those back-to-back shirts printed out. What if the Cleveland Cavaliers would have actually won that? Would they just wasted all those Warrior shirts? Like, I'm pretty sure there was some Cleveland shirts out there that was like 2018 champions. Like, so the fact that they lost is like, all right, well, just throw these in the trash, burn them. Like, what do you think they do with those extra shirts that they print out that don't happen? Like, that's kind of crazy for real. It's not like they print them right then.
Stay with Durant, knocks it away, and Durant's limping. Durant goes down, holding his leg. Thompson running the floor, and a foul.
Left knee.
Thompson grabs his left knee.
Has to be that he closed out on a shooting hand foul.
They was getting messed up.
A lot of contact.
They was getting messed up.
He's holding that left wrist.
And that was it. A 5-year run, cementing their spot as one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history, all came crumbling down in a matter of moments. Goliath had fallen, and for the first time in half a decade, the door was open for other teams to win it all. The Raptors won their first championship in franchise history, the Bucks won their first championship in half a century, and the Lakers were crowned champions for the first time in a decade.
Hey!
The dragon had been slayed, and I could now rest knowing the Golden State dynasty was behind us.
So much for that.
6
That was an evil laugh.
in 8 years, 4 NBA championships, a remarkable run by any measure that only a handful of teams in the history of NBA have accomplished. Congratulations, you are the 2022 NBA champions.
I couldn't have been more wrong. Because somehow, despite injuries and roster changes and ups and downs and everything in between, the Warriors are champions once again. We said they were getting too old. We said they were too injury prone. We said the roster looked like a G League team. We said they couldn't win without Kevin Durant. And they proved us all wrong. Just last season, if you told me the Warriors were going to win another championship, let alone a championship this season, I would have checked you into a mental institution.
They went 15 and 50 2 years ago, y'all. Like, that's so crazy to me. Like, I get it with injuries and all that stuff. You know, things can happen. But just to be able to build up a morale, build a team together, despite injuries, and win the championship 2 years later, that's remarkable, man. I think we got to give Steve Kerr some credit, too. I rock with Steve Kerr a lot. I think we always kind of just give Steph and Clay all the credit and Splash Bros this, Splash Bros that, but you gotta put them in position to win. You gotta put them in the right spots, make sure they're getting good shots. Like, all that goes into it, and Steve Kerr is doing it, man. Shout out to Steve Kerr.
They went from one of the best teams in the history of the NBA to the worst team in the NBA
D-Lo.
to champions again in record time. Just take a moment to appreciate this roster that defied all odds and became champions. Out of the 14 players that suited up in the postseason, 6 of them had 0 playoff experience. Instead of seeking out the brightest stars around the league, the Warriors went and acquired players that fit within their system and maxed out their potential. They found value in guys like Gary Payton Jr. and Otto Porter Jr. They saw immense utility in guys like Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole and gave them a chance to shine on the biggest stage.
Good team,
Even
man.
Andre Iguodala, the oldest player in the entire NBA, played a crucial role as a mentor and a leader for the Warriors throughout the playoffs. This was a
Iguodala's the oldest
masterclass on coaching, adjustments, and players buying into their role and maximizing their impact on the game. The catalyst of this improbable run, the once-in-a-lifetime talent of Stephen Curry. Before this year's playoffs, we were asked who had the most to prove and whose legacy would be altered the most with the championship. I thought maybe Chris Paul, Giannis, James Harden, maybe even Luka Doncic. But the answer all along was Stephen Curry. Because now that he has a long-awaited, well-deserved Finals MVP, the man has done it all. 4 championships, 2 MVPs, 8 All-NBA teams, 8 All-Star appearances, 2 scoring titles, an All-Star MVP, most three-pointers in NBA history, and a Finals MVP.
That's a crazy list of accolades. Where does he rank? You know, if you didn't answer the question before, answer it now, because I really want to see where people rank him at. Because I know it's going to be a lot of, older people, I don't want to call y'all the old heads, but the old heads. Was like, he ruined basketball, he made it boring to watch, this and that. So they gonna probably be the ones that be like, he's still not ranked top 50. Like, if he tried to do this in the old game, it wouldn't have happened, blah, 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 blah. I'm not trying to hear none of that. Well, if that's how you feel, go ahead and write it. I want y'all to speak how y'all feel, because that's how I do. I speak how I feel, so I want y'all to do the same. And then also for the people that's, the younger crowd, where do y'all rank him at? Some of y'all might rank him top 5, top 10 all the time. Like, it's gonna be a lot of different opinions, but that's what I love about my YouTube channels. I got people from all ages, and I get to see different opinions on everything. So yeah, state your opinion on where y'all feel like Steph Curry ranks all the time.
The greatest careers the NBA has ever seen, and at 34 years old, he is still as incredible as ever. Now, as NBA fans, we have an unhealthy obsession with all-time rankings, moving players around on our all-time list every other week like some sort of sick game of musical chairs. But if we're going to be honest with ourselves, I think we can all agree that there are a handful of players that remain a step above everyone else. And these are those players. Now, where you choose to rank these players will be different depending on who you ask. Personally, I have them ranked like this. Now,
let's check his list out. Top 10 greatest NBA players of all time. We got Jordan, LeBron, number 2, Kareem, Magic, Kobe, Larry Bird, Shaq, Bill Russell. That's not a bad list. That's not a bad list. Let me know what y'all think about his list. And then his 3 honorable mentions is Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, and Hakeem. I need to do some reaction videos on Hakeem, though, because I haven't did one. And everybody talk about how good he was.
This all-time top 10 has virtually remained the same for years. The most recent player to be on this list was LeBron James, who's been on it for about a decade now. And before him, the most recent players to join this exclusive club were Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant. Regardless of where you choose to rank these players among your all-time top 10, the players that make up this top 10 haven't budged in over a decade. Recently, I was tempted to add Kevin Durant to this list, but realistically, I couldn't bring myself to remove anyone in his place, so he remains on the outside looking in. But after this championship run by Stephen Curry and his entire season as a whole, the time has come. It's time we add a new player to this list.
The top 10?
It's been a long time
Will out,
and it's well deserved.
He took Will out and put Steph in? Let me know, y'all. Let me know.
Curry is now undebatably a top 10 player of all time, and this season has cemented his spot on this list. Every all-time player has won with their respective organizations. This is a definitive requirement of greatness, but only a few players made such a massive impact that the success of an entire franchise began and ended with them. Tim Duncan introduced winning basketball to San Antonio. They couldn't win before he got there, and they haven't won since he left. Michael Jordan didn't just win with the Bulls. He was the Bulls. Stephen Curry isn't just winning in a Warriors jersey. He is the Golden State Warriors. In 2009, he came into a struggling franchise, and over the last 13 seasons, he has turned them into a behemoth. See, it's one thing to come into a franchise that has seen success, one that has won before and has championship DNA. It is a completely different accomplishment to be drafted to a franchise that has never even sniffed a title and turned them into a dynasty. Russell did it, Mike did it, Duncan did it, and Steph has spent the last decade doing it as well. But you don't have to watch Steph tear your favorite team apart to see his generational impact. Steph is as important to the Warriors' success as any player has ever been to any team in NBA history. Here's a chart of the top 10 players all time and how many wins they added to their respective teams over the course of their entire career. For example, Throughout Wilt Chamberlain's career, his team won 7.5% more when he played versus when he didn't play. Shaq's teams won 15% more when he played versus when he was sitting out. Now, anything above 10% is incredible, and nearly all of these players are far above that threshold. When Kobe played, the Lakers won 21.5% more games than when he didn't. Larry Bird led to the direct result of the Celtics winning 22.8% more games. And, of course, the two players that had the largest impact on their team's success are Michael Jordan, and with a large gap above everyone else, LeBron James. But the most important, most impactful, game-changing player for any franchise in the history of the NBA is Stephen Curry.
I was about to say, he had to be
win over 32% more games when Curry is playing versus when he's not. That is the equivalent of Steph adding an additional 26 wins for the Warriors over the course of each regular season of his entire career, just by himself. But this isn't some sort of theoretical impact found by just using numbers. We have seen, with our own eyes, just how lost the Warriors are without Steph. 2 years ago, just 5 games into the Warriors season, Steph broke his hand and was sidelined for the remainder of the season. And in that season, the Warriors weren't just bad. They weren't just one of the worst teams in the NBA. They were literally, by far, the worst team in the entire league. The very next season, Steph returned to the lineup and the Warriors' winning percentage more than doubled. And, well, the rest is history. No matter which players come and go, regardless of how the roster changes around him, Steph remains at the center of one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history. The Warriors should have never won this championship. This title was not in the cards for them. A long shot at best. Just 10 years ago, it was almost unanimously agreed upon that a team could not win a championship off of three-pointers and jump shots. It was believed that you could not win a title with a point guard doing the heavy lifting for your offense. 2015 was a fluke. 2016 was a blown lead. The next two, well, those don't really count, right?
Kevin Durant.
And Kevin Durant. All they do is shoot threes.
They'll never
He's too small. They're injury prone. The Warriors aren't even a team that could ever be a finals.
I wouldn't bet against us.
I love it. I love it. Let's give Steph a round of applause, man. Shout out to Steph and Curry. The Warriors did their thing, man. Like I said before this video started, like, you got to give them his credit. And I think what makes it so great for these ones is like, yeah, when they had KD, it was almost like the Warriors are the favorite. Like, they're supposed to win. If they don't win the championship, it's almost like a bust. Like, even if they made it and lost, it would have been a bust. But this year, it was like nobody was, except for the Warrior fans, nobody was expecting the Warriors to go in there and win a championship until, you know, you started seeing them, you know, kill and had this momentum going. But before that, nobody expected them to win. And I think that's what kind of adds to Steph's legacy. But I appreciate y'all for watching this video. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel if y'all haven't already. We're on the way to 10K. We're almost there. So if you're still watching right now, you are real. Go ahead and like this video if you like this video. And go ahead and write something in the comments. Write what other videos y'all want me to react to. But I appreciate y'all like always. We out.